Welcome to the News Channel 9 newsroom and the News Channel 9 Stream Center. On a day where we are seeing some images come into our newsroom that we have not seen in years here in the Tennessee Valley, I want to start with this drone video from Xavier Cotto. This is drone video of the interstate I-24 last night, where massive flash flooding sent the interstate underwater. You can see there cars trapped, tractor trailers trapped. They shut down this entire portion of the interstate last night as they tried to first evacuate people, get them to safety, and then try to get the cars out. I'm joined by my team here, meteorologist Olivia Glass, who's in the News Channel 9 studio, Meg Doyle, who has been out with Eastridge and Hamilton County emergency crews this morning as they survey that damage, and Ja'Kai Spikes, who's in Catoosa County, which was also affected by this flooding as residents had to be saved from an apartment complex there. I'm going to start today with Meg. Meg, you've been going around with emergency officials this morning. Can you tell us so far what you've been seeing and what they've been able to find as they survey this damage?
Yeah, it's been a very emotional morning walking around with emergency officials, going back to those areas in Eastridge that were hit the hardest. Now you see that drone video right there of I-24, and I'm actually right off of I-24. I'm in that parking lot where At Home is. At Home has been flooded, all the stores here in this parking lot. You can just see, if I can flip my camera, you can see some of the excess flood water and the debris just left over in the parking lot here, as crews are still out here working, surveying all those damages. But emergency officials, we started off going to the neighborhoods that were hit the hardest, and I actually spoke with one resident who had to be rafted out, and she was very emotional. She was, crying about obviously how traumatic it is. She said she's never had a flood. She lives in a floodplain area, but not one that has ever been this bad. We spoke to other residents who this is the second time in 2 months their home has been flooded. Again, they also had to get to higher ground because luckily what we are hearing though, and what Mayor Womp just said, is that it could have been a lot worse if we even just had an inch or two more of rain. What we've been noticing for the most part is that a lot of the rain, in some areas, the rain got up to 2 feet in some homes, but for the most part, the rain has just got through the front door, which is good news. But extensive damage to these homes, of course. They're now having to deal with the aftermath and the cleanup and having to stay in hotels for the meantime until they get those repairs done. But we've been going around all morning. I was with the Eastridge Police Department, the Eastridge Fire Department, Mayor Weston Womp, Hamilton County Emergency Services, just surveying the damage, speaking with residents impacted. It's definitely a tough morning here. And another thing we've been hearing is that it came out of nowhere and it just happened so fast. 1 minute it was just pouring rain, and then all of a sudden their emergency crews were coming down the street in rafts, just trying to get people out, get them to safety. And thankfully, the neighborhoods that were impacted most, everyone was like, our safety, we're okay, the material things can come back. However, Mayor Womp, we just spoke to him, and he said there definitely is a concern about the storms we are getting later today. There's definitely some concern that is going to re-amp up some of these areas that aren't even fully drained yet. Obviously, there's already high waters in our creeks and waterways, and with this, second round coming later, there's some concerns about that. So he said, you just need to be so cautious, later today. If you don't have to be driving, try not to. Schools are canceled in Hamilton County, which was just out of precaution for the damage that we've seen and potential damage that's going to come later today.
Meg, I do want to stop you here. We're looking now at our newschannel9.com web story, where we did learn from the Chattanooga Fire Department earlier this morning that 2 adults and a child were killed when a tree hit their car they were driving in. Did Hamilton County emergency officials speak about that situation at all when you were with them this morning?
They have not yet. This happened, we're learning, along Southmore Road. They did not speak too much about that, but it is such a tragic situation where, of course, freak accidents like that happen. Mayor Womp did say that it was a result of that storm that blew through, and he said, as a father, it hits close to home for him as well, because that was a family that was killed just by a freak accident as a result of those storms and of the excessive rain we saw last night.
And Meg, can you show us again? I've got your video up a little bigger this time. Can you flip your camera around and show us again that parking lot? Because a lot of people haven't gotten out this morning, wondering what the roads look like today. The interstates are passable, I-24 back open and passable, but any roads that were flooded last night, we expect to see some of what you're seeing there, the dirt, the debris, and just some of what's left over.
I'm going to walk over here to where the shopping cart is, and you can just see this extra debris. We're at home. We actually went inside the store, and they are just trying to mop up the water that got into the store. Obviously, all the stores and movie theaters in this parking lot are going to be closed today, but just dealing with it is just muddy, murky waters. And this is pretty much the scene in several neighborhoods in Eastridge as well. You can see, obviously, I-24 is back open, and this is just where last night we saw that extreme flooding. We saw the dramatic video on the TDOT cameras of a woman having to be rescued, which is just a scary situation for anyone involved right there. And to think that, less than 24 hours ago, this interstate right here looked like that. It's definitely something that, it really is a emotional, traumatic morning for a lot of people here in Hamilton County.
It is. And Meg, thank you for showing us that view. You've been out for hours this morning. Thank you for keeping everyone informed as they got their morning started, because there were a lot of questions this morning about what it looked like out there. We'll check back in with you in just a little bit, okay?
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Again, this from I-24 last night. I do want to, if I can bring up here our traffic camera, show you what those look like. Actually, the TDOT, oh, here we go. I'm just getting this pulled up on another screen here to show you what some of the conditions look like now, which is open, and just amazing to see what that looks like now. But while I get that set up, I want to bring in Jakai Spikes. She is down in Catoosa County. Jakai, tell us what neighbors there have been saying as you've spoken to them this morning.
For sure. First, let me just turn around my camera. So what neighbors have been telling me all today, especially those that live on this first floor of this apartment complex, really all of the first floors of the apartment complex have been flooded. With that being said, what neighbors have been telling me is that it's really sad because they're getting all their stuff out. They're moving completely out, and they're saying, well, we don't know where we're going to go. And the worst part about all of this is that it's just they don't really have reassurance. Right now you see two people. Wait, I don't know why this looks really weird. Let me try and turn it around one more time. Right now you see well, you should be seeing there's like this front desk right behind me, the Crossings apartment office. Residents have been going up to that office all day today, just asking the managers what is our next steps. And I do know that also residents told me that they saw swift water teams and the Catoosa County Fire Department here last night, rescuing about 80 people, not only adults, but children as well, from the apartment complex. The apartment complex also saw a case manager out here earlier today, because she told me that a lot of the kids who live in this apartment complex and who have been affected by the floods She was checking to see if they were still here, moving out, and just assessing the situation. So yeah.
And I do want to pause you for a second. What we're seeing beside you there is pictures from the Catoosa County government Facebook page of some of those rescues last night. I can't, it's hard to see right here, but in this part of your screen, you can see the rescue crews in that boat evacuating some of those residents there, them on the scene, along with some other counties that came to help just as they got that massive amount of people out. Jakai, how high up did some of the residents that you spoke to say the water came to them and in their apartments last night?
So there was one woman who I met. Her name's Ashley. She's moving out in the apartment complex that you all see right behind me. She told me, for example, yesterday, she said, yesterday I deep cleaned my whole home, Jakai. I mopped the floors. I made sure that everything was perfect. And she said, well, there's no need for deep cleaning anymore. She said that the waters rose above her couch. And I haven't been able to go in her apartment yet. She's going to let me in there later on. But just thinking about in our living room, if water floods is going a little bit above your couch, that's a lot of water, and it has created a lot of damage in her apartment. And she's going to be sharing those photos with us too.
All right. Thank you, Jakai. I know you're out there talking to those residents. Keep us updated as you learn more from Catoosa County.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. I do want to show you now some pretty dramatic video that came into our newsroom not long ago. This is from EPB, the Electric Power Board. You can see here. This is an EPB crew member. We'll hit play there. An EPB crew member hitting the door, or the window rather, of a car that is in the flooding. The driver was trapped in her vehicle near the I-24/75 split. He jumped into action and helped her to safety. So tried to break that one window, ended up getting her out of that one. Watch here. You can see people walking on those medians there to try to get to other people for safety. He swims her out. Again, this is an EPB employee there. I'm going to play that again just to see. So see, he breaks that back window with what appears to be a rock. Video pauses for just a second. It goes back up. You can see him then pull the woman out of her car. EPB says this is Troy Plemons, a member of their fiber installation team. So we saw this rescue happen. Just amazing video that he helped get her out of that car at that time. And different videos coming in of different situations like that. I want to bring now meteorologist Olivia Glass, who can maybe help us understand how much water we were dealing with and why this happened so quickly. Olivia, I do have some graphics to show you that you brought us up here. So what are we looking at here, and how did that affect kind of what we were seeing last night?
Yeah, so this is rainfall totals as of just an hour ago or so. We'll be continuing to watch these accumulations rise, unfortunately, over the course of the day today. Where we were just looking, I-24/75 split picked up upwards of almost 7 inches of rainfall in a very short amount of time yesterday. So part of the reason why we saw that devastating flooding was because the rain was coming down so fast. The draining systems, the ground couldn't react fast enough basically to absorb all of the rainfall. So it kind of just stayed stagnant for some time before eventually receding. Portions of Marion County right now maybe weren't hit very bad last night. Now they're picking up very intense rainfall too. They're still dealing with flash flood warnings for Franklin, Jackson, Marion County as well, because flash flooding is still ongoing in those locations. A flash flood watch is in effect for pretty much all of the viewing area for today until 8 o'clock Eastern time tonight. So unfortunately, as much as I hate to say this, we are not out of the clear just quite yet. 6-7 inches of rainfall is already in the ground from yesterday, and any additional rainfall, the ground will have a pretty hard time absorbing. So we're still weather alert for today, have multiple ways to receive alerts from the National Weather Service. There's so much moisture in the air right now. We have a flow out of the south and west, so that's really drawing up a lot of warm but moist air. And that's part of the reason why we're seeing, honestly, tropical rainfall rates right now and what we saw yesterday. This is a forecast meteorologists do not want to verify. We did not want this forecast to verify this way. We don't like forecasting these things because it's just devastating to see things like this happen in your own city. You see stuff like this over the news, and it's like, you pray to God that that doesn't happen. And unfortunately, we did see that play out last night.
And Olivia, you and I were just speaking about 24 hours ago on one of these streams about the importance of weather radios.
We were.
What alerts went out last night about this flooding?
Yeah, so if hopefully you were able to come get one from us yesterday. If you didn't, hopefully you are able to get one soon. Flash flood watches went out, flash flood warnings went out. My phone, my weather radio went off in the middle of the night as well. So that is what really woke me up to get those alerts to say, hey, I need to be weather aware today. We have more issues for flash flooding. There's a little thing that the National Weather Service also broadcasts over the weather radios. And last night during the flood warnings, they were saying evacuations are already taking place. This many inches of rainfall have already fallen in this location. So that's another reason why it's so important to have one of those weather radios too, because you can get vital information like that. And of course, this happened during peak rush time hours, which did not help at all. So hopefully you were able to still get your alerts that way. And unfortunately, if we do have more flooding like this today, turn around, don't drown, head to higher ground. It's not worth risking driving through these flooded waters to get to a place faster.
Which is what we're seeing right now. This is video of I-24. This is, I believe that's McBrien Road. It's hard to see that blue sign right in the middle, but just to see how many cars got stuck in that. And I have to say, my family, we were driving home from downtown last night. We avoided the interstate because we had seen images like this start to come in, tried to go Ringgold Road, massive flooding there too. And so it, tons of people out there just trying to get around it last night. And as difficult as it was, we're just glad that that emergency crews were able to go out and rescue those people that did need to be rescued. So Olivia, thank you so much for your insight. I know you'll keep us updated. We have News Channel 9 Midday coming up in about 30 minutes. Well, we'll hear more of the forecast. So thank you so much there.
Thank you.
Now I want to talk about some road closures because we do have a list here from the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. We're going to take a look at that. Give me 1 second here and we'll share that screen. There we go. So as you can see, this is from 2 hours ago. This is the latest list of road closures. And as you can see here, there are still a lot. So this is from all the places that had different. Well, let me just make sure we're looking at the right one there because that one said. So this is from Tuesday. So this will tell us where the flooding happened last night. Gun Barrel Road, Gun Barrel, Germantown, East Brainerd, Brainerd Road, East Brainerd, Shallowford, Standifer Gap, Dodson Avenue, Hickory Valley Road, Riverside, Jersey Pike, Hamilton Place, Shawnee Trail. These are all from Chattanooga so far. Amherst, Haney Drive, Highway 153, Southmore. I had someone ask me about 23rd Street. I'm not seeing 23rd Street here on this list yet. And then you move into East Ridge, Ringgold Road, State Line Road, Bennett Road, Greens Lake Road, Hunter Road. So lots of different areas there that we're seeing a lot of flooding there. Now, let's look at that interstate today. Man, hard to imagine that difference in just less than 24 hours, 12 hours, 18 hours. So TDOT was able to reopen the interstate last night around 11 p.m., at least for some drivers. But for a while, this whole portion was closed. So let's just compare. Let's go back to the drone video that we saw at the beginning of this. So this is what you're looking at live now. And this is what you would have been looking at last night before sunset. And I have to tell you, I've lived in Chattanooga since 2008. I've never seen the interstate flood like this in that time period. You can see just how deep that is. And of course, if you live in Chattanooga, you know that that massive construction TDOT project is going on in that area. You can see some of the cones there, even in this drone video. Just capturing that massive amount of water that just sat on the interstate last night for hours. And you can see a car there right in the middle of your screen. You can see some tractor trailers. So this is the right up to the right. That's the at-home parking lot we saw Meg Doyle in a little bit ago. And now you can see some of these cars. Look at those cars right there. And that tractor trailer. So this looks to be right across from the AMC movie theater right there. You can see some people out of their cars walking there. Oh, you can see a school bus right back there in that water. So just so much of that is going to affect people today, whether it's your cars having issues this morning or just you trying to, clean up your yard. So much that's going to happen today for people. I do want to see if we can pull out now. We have an interview with Mayor Womp. I'm just being told by a producer here. Okay, so we're being told, give me just a second before we do this, because we just got a response from TDOT. We reached out to them this morning. And I want to read you their response. And our question was, did the interstate construction alter the drainage to the detriment of the roadway? So let me just read this to you as we see this. And I want to, right now we're looking at the interstate now, but I want to show you while I'm reading this some of the video from yesterday. So this is coming into our newsroom just now in the last 5 or so minutes. It says TDOT is actively reviewing the flash flooding that occurred on Tuesday afternoon to better understand its scope and contributing factors. More than 6 inches of rain fell in just 4 hours, overwhelming local waterways and causing widespread flash flooding through East Ridge and surrounding areas in Hamilton County. Major corridors, including I-24, Brainerd Road, Bonnie Oaks, and State Route 153 were impacted as Spring Creek rose above its banks, flooding adjacent roadways. We want to be clear. Again, if you're just joining us, this is from TDOT. The ongoing road construction project in the area did not contribute to the flooding. The project's drainage systems performed as designed, and water runoff from the site was properly managed and channeled. Public safety is our top priority. We're looking closely with local partners to learn from this event. So TDOT saying that their construction project there did not contribute to this this water being just rising so fast on the interstate. You can see their cars trapped. Yeah, so much to unpack today. So again, that response was from TDOT. Let's now listen to Hamilton County Mayor Weston Womp. Our crew had the chance to interview him after he surveyed some damage just a little bit ago.
Just talk about where we stand right now in the response to the devastating flash flooding last night.
Well, what you saw last night was a multi-agency response, best of the first responder community. I could tell things had gotten serious at the point that Swiftwater Rescue from Dallas Bay was in the city of East Ridge. a lot of evacuations, a very effective multi-agency response. East Ridge leading a lot of the effort, Chattanooga Fire leading a lot of the effort. And today it's a mess, but it's, most of the waters have receded. You saw up to a few feet in a lot of the residential communities that we just visited. We're in one of the commercial properties that was affected. Unknown right now. There's an unconfirmed presumed death. There was visuals on somebody who was swept away last night, and then tragically, in a storm-related accident involving a tree and a car, a family of 3 were killed. And so there's a loss of life that is tragic. There's a loss of property that is probably not as bad as some of the visuals we saw last night, but significant nonetheless. Talked to a lot of homeowners in older homes where HVAC underneath the floorboards of the home suffered quite a bit of damage. And generally, I would say not as bad on the ground as a lot of us thought that it might have been, headed to sleep last night, but very grateful for first responders, county, city of East Ridge, city of Chattanooga, handling themselves really well. You've got all sorts of different things going on. You've got an oil spill that hazmat and emergency management's working on, and then assessments going on across, particularly the city of East Ridge, that Hamilton County Emergency Management has been a part of with TEMA, assessing the damage so that we can work with state officials to take care of business.
And can you talk about last night you called a local state emergency
Yeah.
that was still in place this morning? Is that still in place as of 11 o'clock this morning? Also, what was what led you up to making that final call?
Well, for us, it just gives maximum flexibility to first responders to do whatever's necessary across agencies. It gives more flexibility, even in terms of purchasing rules, just to do what is necessary. Particularly, you get late in the day. At a certain point last night, I was going to go to sleep. It's a better decision to go ahead and err on the side of caution. I'd already been in contact with the governor's office. And so we don't know right now how long that designation will need to stay in place. But it is current now. And then obviously we're watching the weather as the day goes on, because the biggest concern right now would be that late afternoon with saturated grounds, particularly in the southern part of the county, that we get a lot of rainfall again. Because really what this was, East Ridge Fire Chief said it well, a flood is one thing. This was really a flash flood situation. So much rain so fast, it's not really a function of what kind of drains you have. Any area is subject to a flash flood. That's what we saw transpire last night, and what we're hoping doesn't happen again this afternoon.
Yeah, that leads to the next question I was going to ask. Is we've heard from some people who are that this is re-raising those concerns about overdevelopment in terms of the drainage. And do you think this is more of just the freak nature of the storm, or is there perhaps a reason to look back at how different municipalities, I don't know, Hamilton's being talked about this morning, and the concerns of the growth on that. Does this raise any concern for you about the drainage capabilities across the city and the county?
Well, I mean, the city of East Ridge has been densely populated and built out for decades. So I don't think that's the situation here. There are questions about drainage infrastructure along the construction at I-24. Mayor Kelly and I were talking on the phone about that earlier. We at least want to all be confident moving forward with state officials. We're told that I-24, the portions that are being expanded currently, are being built to 50-year flood capacity. Again, this was a flash flood, not a traditional flood, so we want to get our definitions correct. But I do think it's an opportunity for us to talk about infrastructure and to revisit, particularly given the state's massive investment in this corridor, to revisit that infrastructure is what we expect it to be. But I don't think we should conflate development in a greenfield farm type environments with what's going on here, because the flooding we've seen here are in historic older communities that have been built out for a long time. And as residents will tell you, this appears to be the most significant flood in the area since 1973.
And knowing that, this happened, like you just said, this has been the most significant flood for a long time. You've been able to walk around this morning and catch a glimpse of what people's homes and businesses like the one we're standing in now. Just being there, how does that make you feel knowing that something happened so fast and it's so extreme?
Well, I've got a 4-year-old, and we had a little child killed in a storm-related incident. It's a freak accident. It wasn't necessarily directly connected to flooding, but it certainly was a result of the storm, and so that hits heavy because those parents certainly couldn't have imagined the tragedy that was going to wreck their family. I would say there's some gratitude walking the streets today because I could tell in the eyes of a lot of the residents here in East Ridge that it wasn't as bad as they felt like it could have been. I think there was a lot of palpable fear last night that the water was about to come inside. In some cases, we were at homes where it got just an inch away, or where the damage was, it was controlled and people still, they're managing the damage, but it was not life-altering. And so, where on the one hand, these situations also remind you of the extraordinary role that first responders play when called into action. And a lot of those are people, they're paid professionals. But again, Dallas Bay was down here evacuating people in East Ridge. Dallas Bay's not close to East Ridge, right? I mean, you're up kind of in the lakeside area. And just to see Chief Fritz and that crew down here taking care of fellow Hamilton Countyans means a lot. But right now, I'd say, grateful that this wasn't worse than it could have been. I think another inch of rain and you may have had significant loss of life due to flooding. And right now, it seems like most of the damage is, again, not as devastating as it looked like it was going to be last night.
Anything else you want the public to know, just moving on into the future? I know we have a potential for more showers.
Yeah, I would just say be really careful because flash floods happen really fast, and we don't know, like we didn't yesterday, a couple hours notice. We were told yesterday afternoon there may be a lot of rain piling up. It looks like that could happen again, so I would just say, be very alert. It's one of the reasons I think the school system decided to exercise caution and cancel today. I would say everybody across the county, this last night's activity was concentrated in the southern part of the county, but we all ought to be eyes wide open headed into the afternoon and evening hours. Okay?
Okay, so that was Hamilton County Mayor Weston Wamp talking about some of the situations last night. One of the videos we haven't showed you yet, this was a swift water rescue in the East Ridge area, shared by Hamilton County Emergency Management there. You can see a crew going up to a family with a swift water rescue boat, helping them get out of their home. You can see a pet there being carried out in a pet carrier. So we don't exactly know yet how many rescues took place in Hamilton County last night. We don't know the extent of any infrastructure damage. Sadly, we do know that there are 3 confirmed fatalities at this point. 2 adults and 1 child who were driving in a car when a large tree fell on their vehicle on Southmore Road. That happened last night. That's according to East Ridge Assistant Chief of Police Josh Creel. That tree crashed into power lines and caused a loss of power in the Ringgold Road area. So you can see there that as the day goes on, we may learn more about injuries if there are any other fatalities at this point. We also know there was a man that they're searching for that was walking along East Brainerd Road that has not been accounted for this morning. So we don't know where he is or the circumstances on that. That information coming from the Chattanooga Fire Department there. We are in about 15 minutes going to be having News Channel 9 midday. We're going to have more updates there from our crew in East Ridge, which is Meg Doyle and also Olivia Glass, who will have our forecast. She is still with us here, so I want to add her just for a moment to talk about Olivia. We can hear the rain coming down on our studio right now. What is the current rain situation that we're looking at?
So as of just a few minutes ago, a flash flood warning has been issued for southern Hamilton County and southern Bradley County as well until 4 o'clock Eastern time today. And half an inch to an inch have already fallen within the past couple of minutes. An additional 1 to 2 inches will still be possible throughout that time frame. So The rain is still coming down, even though it's been raining so much the past few days. That moisture is still being replenished with the flow out of the south and west. So that's why, even though it's been raining so much, it's still raining because that moisture is still being re-added by the southwest flow from the Gulf. So that flash flood warning for southern Hamilton, southern Bradley is out until 4 o'clock Eastern time today. We'll be watching to see if more warnings get issued, if they get extended for longer, but remember to turn around, don't drown. I know a lot of kids are off from school today. We don't recommend playing in standing water just because the water can flow very fast. Even if you say you're a good swimmer, it can still carry very heavy things away very fast. There could be chemicals from runoff as well. So it's a good idea to just stay indoors. When thunder roars, head indoors also. We're hearing thunder outside the studios right now also. So have multiple ways to receive alerts from the National Weather Service any day, but especially today. We'll be live at midday here in about 15 minutes or so.
Okay, Olivia, thank you so much for your update.
Thank you.
Keep us updated throughout the day and let us know
Always.
what this rain does.
Yeah.
I want to take a look now at a little more of the flooding that we have come into our newsroom. So this is the Revere apartments at Hamilton Place. You can see this is someone's flooding inside their apartment. Just how high the water got there. We've heard from several different apartment complexes or people that live at several different apartment complexes that this has happened. I want to show you earlier we spoke to Jakai Spikes, and she was at an apartment complex in Catoosa County. And I want to show you, there we go. That those pictures there. So you can see some of that from that swiftwater rescue. That is in Catoosa County, where they had to rescue lots of residents there. They brought in swiftwater boats. This was at the, let me just find the name of this, 2 apartment complexes in Fort Oglethorpe. This was the Crossings apartment on Fant Drive, where the deep water flooded first floor units. And then they took the evacuees to the Constitution Hall and West Side voting precinct so that they could shelter from that rain there. We could also, okay, we have some more flooding. You'll see me look down from time to time. That's because new information is coming into our newsroom, just instantaneously now that we're getting more responses from different municipalities. Okay, so we just got an email from East Ridge. While we do that, let me just switch our view so we can be looking at East Ridge. So here's some video from the flooding on the interstate right in that East Ridge area. Let's see what East Ridge city officials just sent us. It says the city of East Ridge with the East Ridge Police Department conducted a comprehensive assessment of damages, which is what our crew Meg Doyle went along with this morning. They are saying that individuals, property owners, business owners, and tenants affected by the storm damage is encouraged to report their damages to their insurance company. So that's good information to know. Let's see here. So they're still conducting that review, seeing what businesses are damaged. They're telling people to reach out to them if they need any assistance there, and East Ridge will be sending out more updates as the time goes. So that is information from the city of East Ridge. You can see there from that flooding. Now, if you were with us just about 10 or 15 minutes ago, we did ask TDOT this morning if their construction project in this area of Northmore Road was at any point related to the flooding. Did the drainage change when they did that construction? A TDOT spokesperson, Rayanne Bradley, got back to us and said that they do not believe that is the case. They believe this is just the sheer amount of rain that fell and the short amount of time. You heard Mayor Wamp, if you heard him speak a few moments ago, say this is the worst flooding that Hamilton County has seen since 1973. So this flooding that you see here is just something that we haven't seen in 50 years. So, you hear of a 100-year flood. This is something that we haven't seen in decades here in Hamilton County. I do want to take you back to this other rescue that we can show you of an EPB worker, because this video is just difficult to watch, but also just inspiring to watch, because seeing a person jump into action like this to help someone else is just amazing. So let's see which tab we're going to. Okay, here we go. This is an EPB worker here that EPB shared on their Facebook page. This is an EPB fiber installation worker named Troy Plemons, who was driving near this 2475 split when he saw this woman who was trapped in her car. He breaks out the back window with what appears to be a rock, and then you can see him pull that woman to safety and try to get her. Man, look at that. Right place, right time for him, and to just jump in and help that. Let's show you that one more time. You can see him go up to the car. There's the rock in his hand. He breaks the window there. It pauses for just a moment. Look at all that debris and the floodwater that you can see. And then he pulls her out of the car and helps her get to safety. So again, that's on the I-24 interstate area. I want to show you a different video. We have this from a similar area on the interstate. This is, we captured this on our TDOT SmartWay camera last night. You can see what appears to be a Chattanooga police officer help a woman out of her car over the median. He carries her to safety. You can see so much of that happening last night across the viewing area. We're hearing that Eastridge, of course, one of the hardest hit areas, they also had rescues in their area. This is one of the swiftwater rescues that their teams performed last night.
Well, here's these kids' life jackets. They're too small to fit these kids.
What kids?
These teenagers that got life jackets on.
614 Clemens Road. Can you re-advise the party count?
What's 4 souls, 2 cats.
Oh, here you go.
Kitty.
So those are people that were rescued from their home along with their dog or their pet. Not sure if it's a dog or a cat in there. I want to take you back to this amazing drone video from Xavier Cotto, who shared that with us earlier today, just to show the extent of the flooding over I-24.
New content inside.
So this is what the interstate looked like last night around 7 p.m., 7 to 8, right before sunset. You can see the sun getting ready to set in the background. You can see the people up on the bridge. Man, if that wasn't such scary video, it would be beautiful with that sunset there. Let me show you too. We've talked a lot about what the roads looked like last night. Let's look at an update now from TDOT. So this is a TDOT spokesperson, Rayanne Bradley, who's showing us Ringgold Road in Eastridge before and after. She says, my TDOT crews cleared storm debris to restore traffic in several locations across Hamilton County. So you can see there's some of that debris whether a tree fell or just the water bringing that in. And then this is what it looked like after they cleared the debris there. So let's go back now and listen to a little bit of the Mayor Weston Wamp interview for those who weren't able to hear that, just to give an update on what county officials did this morning, which is go around and survey some of the damage in Hamilton County. While we do that, we're going to get ready for News Channel 9 midday, and we'll play that for you here as well.
Just kind of just talk about where we stand right now in the response to the devastating flash flooding last night.
Well, what you saw last night was a multi-agency response, best of the first responder community. I could tell things had gotten serious at the point that Swiftwater Rescue from Dallas Bay was in the city of East Ridge. A lot of evacuations, a very effective multi-agency response. East Ridge leading a lot of the effort, Chattanooga Fire leading a lot of the effort. And today it's a mess, but it's, most of the waters have receded. You saw up to a few feet in a lot of the residential communities that we just visited. We're in one of the commercial properties that was affected. Unknown right now. There's an unconfirmed presumed death. There was visuals on somebody who was swept away last night, and then tragically in a storm-related accident involving a tree and a car, a family of 3 were killed. And so there's a loss of life that is tragic. There's a loss of property that is probably not as bad as some of the visuals we saw last night, but significant nonetheless. Talked to a lot of homeowners in older homes where HVAC underneath the floorboards of the home suffered quite a bit of damage. And generally, I would say not as bad on the ground as a lot of us thought that it might have been headed to sleep last night, but very grateful for first responders, county, city of East Ridge, city of Chattanooga, handling themselves really well. You've got all sorts of different things going on. You've got an oil spill that hazmat and emergency management's working on, and then an assessment's going on across particularly the city of East Ridge that Hamilton County Emergency Management has been a part of with TEMA, assessing the damage so that we can work with state officials to take care of business.
And can you talk about last night you called a local state of emergency
Yeah.
that was still in place this morning? Is that still in place as of 11 o'clock this morning? Also, what was what led you up to making that final call to call that?
Well, for us, it just gives maximum flexibility to first responders to do whatever's necessary across agencies. It gives more flexibility, even in terms of purchasing rules, just to do what is necessary. Particularly, you get late in the day. At a certain point last night, I was going to go to sleep. It's a better decision to go ahead and err on the side of caution. I'd already been in contact with the governor's office, and so we don't know right now how long that designation will need to stay in place. But it is current now. And then obviously we're watching the weather as the day goes on, because the biggest concern right now would be that late afternoon with saturated grounds, particularly in the southern part of the county, that we get a lot of rainfall again.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dane Wormlinger. It is great to be with you, and we start this midday with the weather situation right now. Standing water could still be a concern in places. We'll have an update on one of the hardest hit areas in just a moment. But first, meteorologist Olivia Glass is joining us in the Weather Center with an update. Olivia, we can hear it on our roof right now. More rainfall as flood watches and warnings are in effect.
Yeah, yesterday, major flooding took place across the Tennessee Valley, and unfortunately, we are not out of the clear just quite yet. This is what radar currently looks like. Lots of heavier downpours are right along the Tennessee border, as well as through portions of our northern Tennessee counties as well. Bledsoe, Sequatchie County also picking up on some heavier bands of rainfall too. Additional shower activity is also just starting to develop through northwestern Georgia as well, towards Dalton, Lafayette too. All of these bright green shaded boxes you're seeing are current flash flash flood warnings. This first one is out for portions of central Hamilton, Bradley County as well until 4 o'clock Eastern time today. Half an inch to an inch of rain has already fallen just today in those locations. An additional, say 1 to 2, even some isolated spots higher than that. Additional flash flood warnings for Marion County as well. This is out for about the next 15 minutes or so. We'll see if that warning does get extended. And then our last warning is for portions of Franklin and Jackson County as well. That warning out for just a couple more minutes. But again, we'll see if that warning also gets extended. Flash flood warnings are also in effect for the entire viewing area as well. We'll go through the future track coming up in about 15 minutes or so to time out the rest of today's showers and storms.
Olivia, thanks for keeping us updated. Well, we unfortunately know that these storms have led to 3 deaths overnight, 2 adults and a child. This happened in Eastridge when a tree fell on a car. News Channel 9's Meg Doyle is joining us live from Eastridge this hour. Meg, what does the damage look like out there?
Good afternoon, Dane. Right now we're in the car because there is some thunder and lightning passing through the area. So, of course, we want to make sure we're being safe as well. But we're here in Eastridge, and if you can see behind me, actually, in this parking lot, there is extensive damage. Water from that flash flood actually got up underneath of the asphalt and lifted it up. Now, this is just a portion of the damage that I've seen this morning. This morning, I rode along with local and county officials, including Mayor Weston Wamp, going door to door in neighborhoods, especially who were severely affected by those flash floods. I spoke with a woman who was rescued by raft out of her home, and she was telling me just how traumatic this experience was. And she says, you know, where her neighborhood is in a floodplain, but she's never seen anything quite like this. She let us walk into her home, and we saw that water line. In some homes, the water got up to 2 feet. In homes, we know another nearby hotel, about 20 residents had to be evacuated, and we saw the water line there as well. We spoke with other neighbors who said this has been the second time in 2 months that their home has been flooded. Now, one thing Mayor Weston Wamp did say, he spoke to us about how he wants to stress that this was a flash flood. This was not your typical flood, which is why it just, nearly 7 inches of rain fell just so quickly Tuesday evening. And so that's why we're seeing this extensive damage, and first responders worked so hard overnight. The American Red Cross opened up a shelter at the Brainerd Recreational Center for those who were displaced through the flood. And now it's just looking forward to what's next and looking ahead. But like I said, we did speak to Mayor Weston Wamp, and he told us that officials are doing everything they can right now to assist those who've been affected.
A flood is one thing. This was really a flash flood situation. So much rain so fast. It's not really a function of what kind of drains you have. Any area is subject to a flash flood. That's what we saw transpire last night, and what we're hoping doesn't happen again this afternoon.
And like Mayor Wamp just said, hoping that it doesn't happen again this afternoon. Again, as we just heard Olivia talk about the forecast, as we're out here in the rain, we know that we are going to get more rain as we move into this afternoon and evening hours. So just want to stress to be safe if you have to head out on the roads this evening. Again, those creeks and those waterways are already at high water levels. Turn around, don't drown. We've been saying that all morning, and we're going to continue to say it for the rest of the day. Your safety is the most important, and we're going to continue following this throughout the rest of the day, and we'll have more information for you later on our evening shows. Reporting live, I'm Meg Doyle. Dane.
Keeping a close eye on those active watches and warnings. Meg, thank you. We'll take a look at what happened during that flooding along I-24. Our TDOT SmartWay cameras capturing this moment. A first responder carrying a woman and rescuing her after she became trapped in her car along the interstate. This just one of the many rescues that took place during the height of the flooding yesterday. We also saw swift water teams helping those who were trapped in their homes. Hamilton County Emergency Management sharing this video from Clemens Road Road and Swope Drive. Crews helping a family get to safety using an inflatable boat. Chattanooga Fire says the Brainerd Recreation Center was opened overnight as a shelter for anyone impacted by the flooding. Meanwhile, here's video from Hickory Valley Road off of Shallowford Road. You can see that roadway dealing with the standing water overnight. We had heard multiple reports of issues in the Shallowford Road area. Parts of Highway 153 near the Shallowford Road exit ramp were closed yesterday due to the high waters there. Moving now to Howell Drive off of Highway 58. Take a look. The high waters flooding yards and reaching some homes in that neighborhood. One neighbor there telling our photographer that this is some of the worst flooding he's ever seen in this area. And parts of North Georgia also inundated with all that water. Photos here off of Van Cleet Road near Old Fort Baptist Church. You can see that car partially submerged in that water. We've heard several reports of evacuations and rescues in the Fort Oglethorpe area. And we also have video here from Rossville, Georgia. A viewer sending this in of a heavily flooded roadway. You can see that water flooding the yards and houses on that street. And then as the camera pans over, you can see this large tree just uprooting right in front of that viewer as it falls near a house. Again, the water has receded in some places, but this midday, there can still be flooded and dangerous spots, especially as we start to see that rainfall pick up yet again. Hamilton County state of emergency still in place this hour. If you do encounter standing water in the road, remember, turn around, don't drown. We will have an updated list of school closings and delays on our website as we now follow this into the next few days. So make sure to follow our entire news team on social media today as we will track the latest developments. Meanwhile, a high-stakes robbery caught on camera, and coming up next, the search for the suspects underway.
Oh, sorry. There you go. And that was an update from our News Channel 9 midday show. We do have some new video that we want to show you that came from a church. Let's pull this up. Here we go. This is Faith Community Wesleyan Church off Hickory Valley Road. This is actually from last night. You can see there by the darkness. You can see just how high that water is. And I believe in just a few moments, we're going to see inside this church to see how the flooding there affected them. Look, that's outside, but look how high that water came to those doors there. So not only homes and roadways, churches, different buildings across the area, flooding there with lots of damage and aftermath to clean up today. While we're looking at that, I'm going to pull up an interview that Meg Doyle got for us this morning. And this is actually video of crews there surveying the damage in East Ridge. I haven't seen this video yet, so I'm seeing it for the first time as well. We're going to kind of go through it and watch it together. This in East Ridge, you can see just how badly that roadway is damaged from that water. You can see the concrete and asphalt just pulled up there. This is actually appears to be right off Ringgold Road, where I was actually driving on my way home last night and saw just how high that water got. So this is an interview that Meg Doyle got with a resident. Let's listen in as she learns what it was like for him last night.
Philip Morgan, Philip Morgan.
Perfect. And so you're an East Ridge resident, or?
No, I'm in East Lake.
You're in East Lake.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, but this is your. This is your church.
I lease the building here.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. Do you want to kind of talk about your experience with driving through those flash floods yesterday?
I went to the doctor's on the way home, and all this started, and I got stuck in all this, and I never got through down through here. I mean, that water was up, and you could feel stuff everywhere. So finally made it home. Thank God I got home.
How long did it take you to get home?
It took me about 2 hours and a half.
And normally it takes
20 minutes.
20 minutes, yeah.
So it was, and I could see people stuck too off the road. And what I was watching for these drains here, when they come out, they got big holes down in there. And trying to watch the water and trying to watch that, and traffic was awful, and it was just a mess.
And so you lease a building here, and obviously coming up here this morning, what were you kind of expecting to see? Were you expecting to see some of this damage that was here?
I was, because the rent man had called me and told me it was damaged up here. So when I pulled in, I didn't expect all this like this, you know, can't hardly even get in.
No.
So I parked across the street right now. So.
Did any water get inside?
Yes, it got in there some, but not real. It's in there a little bit. We're trying to clean it out now, so that's what we're doing.
What does, those cleanup efforts look like for you now?
Looks pretty rough, a whole day job, and probably all week, to be honest about it. So.
Yeah, for sure, and especially now with the parking lot all messed up. I mean, me personally, I don't remember a flooding event, as bad as this one.
I've never been in one like this, and I would be out in it too. I've never saw it like this. It's just bad.
And I guess when you were driving through that yesterday and starting to realize how bad it was getting, what was going through your head?
Trying to get home before it. But it was done bad anyway. I went to the doctor and I was coming home through Brainerd. It was awful in Brainerd. I came across the East Ridge. My spot in East Ridge was all right. And I thought, we could make it pretty good, and we kept coming. And then all at once it just disaster. And it just took forever to get here. And cars were every which way. You couldn't even see nothing.
Did you have to, turn around, take different routes?
No, I didn't turn around. I just came straight on. If I got stuck, I was gonna get stuck. It came straight on, but we made it. But you could feel the car sliding just a little bit. But other than that, we made it. So.
And at least everyone was okay.
Yes.
Bill, speaking to residents in East Ridge, we're gonna just kind of go through this video here. This is East Ridge officials this morning surveying the damage as they went to talk to residents out and about. Hamilton County emergency officials, the East Ridge mayor, as well as Hamilton County emergency management, East Ridge police too. Because some of this happened when it was dark last night, you aren't really sure what you're going to see when the sun comes up the next morning. So they went out this morning to do some of that surveying. You can see a home damage there. And I believe in just a few minutes, we're going to hear from this couple as well. Here we go. Let's listen in.
7.5 weeks apart with 2 floods is basically what we've had. And in both times they've come up. The second one was worse. This one was a little worse, but I mean they both basically came up to. And this is the high part of the property right here. The low part is down there. So I mean, obviously, most of the heat cool unit was.
Did it get into your home?
Underwater.
No, that was obviously.
And.
Good. Were you guys okay staying in the house?
We actually went next door, yeah.
Well, we didn't really know if it would come up. It never hit the floors. It was about a
fire check tomorrow. Well, we will.
But
we don't have. If it
well,
got
we don't
in
have
the house, then we
right.
would.
Well, we don't have flood insurance.
Yeah, that would have been
so.
where we really. Because we're retired, so we have a fixed income, and while we have savings, we don't want to deplete it on.
We're probably going to get flood insurance now. We've been talking. So far, we haven't got damage enough to go after the insurance.
So I apologize if that audio is a little hard to hear. Like I said before, we're seeing that come in as it's coming into the newsroom. So let's go through a little bit more to see. Okay, so it looks like that's an interview there too. Let's listen into this one and see how high the water came at this woman's house.
7:30, yeah, and then they came and put a rose clothes sign up here and started blocking it off down there. People were still driving through, but yeah, it's not a good experience. There's several of us it's in a bad way.
Absolutely, it's emotionally just traumatic.
Yeah, and kind of describe the experience because you only had minutes to make decisions on what to try to salvage as the water was rushing in. Just kind of describe what that was like.
Well, since I had a close call once before, I knew what to grab. Put some furniture up, Tell him we got to move our cars. So we put them up there. Sorry.
No, take your time. It's a lot. It's,
But anyway, we just got to figure where to start. But they were rescuing a bunch of other people too. We left about 9 last night, I guess, and we got a hotel. So that's what we're doing for now.
Yeah. And they took you out on the raft since you had all of your...
They met me right here at the door, coming in hollering at me because he was already with his bag going up there, and I had more stuff I was carrying out and trying to put up furniture too. So anyway, I'm out. That's the blessing. So
most important part, and yeah, it's just such a scary situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's your home, and it's scary not knowing exactly, now what's next, having to clean up and
yeah, where to start.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly.
Didn't know where we was going to stay last night. Got the last room at the hotel down here. But you got to do what you got to do.
How? Sorry.
And just looking inside of the home, just how bad is the damage in there? Like how high did the water get? Just kind of...
These 2 rooms here are lower on the house, and they got about 7 inches. And the other part of the house has probably got about 4 inches. All the floors are done. Some curtains that hang down, they're done. Furniture.
And how, obviously you said you've dealt with close calls before, and do you know if this is in a floodplain? Like
it is.
Like have you looked into flood insurance? Like kind of how often do you think about this particular risk?
Every time it rains hard. The first time it took it like 3.5 to 4 days of just good steady rain, and the creek was rising. But this time it was like all in like 4 hours or whatever the time frame was. Yesterday was just ridiculous. But yeah, I don't want to ever go through it again and hate it for anybody. But I don't know what to say.
What are your next steps look like for,
Getting hold of my insurance company, because my home's financed, and there's a few around here that have theirs paid for and they don't have flood insurance, and so got my building back in the back. It's more than halfway. Got a water line up it, more than halfway. So I don't know what the insurance will do. I've never filed a claim yet, so hopefully FEMA will get with us and we can make it happen.
Like you said, most importantly, you're okay and you got out. But I'm so sorry. It's traumatic for sure, having to, just go through all of that. I guess, is there anything else you want to say just about this whole experience?
Just prayers.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be praying for you all.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so what you're looking at now is some more video from Eastridge flooding. But we do have some new video just into our newsroom that I do want to show you. This is where the confirmed fatalities happened in the flooding. Oh, I have too many videos. Give me just a second to remove some of these, and then we'll add it in here. Okay, now let's try this. Here we go. So this is video from Southmore Road, where a confirmed fatality happened when this tree fell on a car that had 2 adults and 1 child in it. The Chattanooga Fire Department says both adults and the child died. You can see the car pieces from that happened when the tree fell. You can see just how much debris there is, which shows just how large that tree was. Again, this is in Chattanooga on Southmore Road, or Eastridge, I believe. This was from Eastridge Police. There, Chattanooga Fire also let us know about this. So that's the route. You can see just where that tree just came up from the ground because of how oversaturated it was. So this was the whole tree trunk falling down on top of that car where the 2 adults and the 1 child died inside. So at this point, we know of these fatalities. We also know about a man who officials said was walking down East Brainerd Road and has not been accounted for at this point. We're waiting to hear about any more injuries or fatalities. We don't know about that yet. Man, just the more we hear about this and the more we see, the harder it gets to look at. Just how many people were affected by this. Hamilton County Mayor Weston Wamp telling us this morning in an interview that this is the worst flood our area has seen since 1973. There was the question about whether the TDOT construction on I-24 had anything to do with how much water stayed in that area and flooded those cars. TDOT telling us this morning they do not believe that is the case. They believe this is just the case of several inches of rain happening in a short amount of time, and that's why that happened. You can see here as crews were out last night trying to detour cars around the area, and then once they clean that up, opening it back for different drivers. So again, this is that area where that fatality happened. Just hard video there to look at. And then we also had a new video come into our newsroom. This one from Ja'Kai Spikes, who is in Catoosa County, where that apartment complex flooded.
Baby,
Somebody saw caught in the floodwater there.
come on, baby.
That buddy getting pulled out. Let's watch that one more time. That man, we're glad that dog is okay.
Come on, baby. Come on. Come on. Come on, baby.
So that video from Ja'Kai Spikes in Catoosa County. So again, if you were caught in this last night and you're okay today, we are grateful for that because there were some confirmed fatalities. Now, we have been getting a lot of questions here about how the interstate is. We're going to bring some of our comments up here to talk about that. And I'll show you in just a moment when we're done watching this video that it's clear, it's open, cars are going back and forth. But this is what it was like last night, just before sunset. You can see how deep that water got. If you look to the top right hand of your screen, you can see where TDOT is putting in those noise barrier walls, just to give you a little reference. This is also right beside the movie theater, the AMC Eastridge Theater, and the at-home store. So this is that portion of the interstate right beside that. You can see a church steeple there in the background. So the bridge above the interstate moving swiftly and fine there. But if you were in those cars that were caught in that water, man, some of those cars stuck there for hours as they shut down I-24 last night, as they made sure everyone was evacuated and then made sure all of those cars got pulled off the roadway there. So a lot of people surveying damage this morning, whether it's from their home or whether it's from their vehicles, trying to figure out how much this is going to cost. You can see, well, for a second, I thought that was a boat. That's a car under that bridge stuck in that water. And you can see people, what happened next is as those people got stuck in the water, some people came to their rescue. So this is what we believe to be a police officer helping a woman over the median. She gets on his back. He walks her to safety there across the roadway and gets her out of that moving water. That's not the only rescue we're seeing here. This one, of course, happened on the interstate. That woman getting down doesn't have her shoes on. She's got her shoes in her bag. Now she's going to put them on. She walks over to get out of safety. Then you can see this swiftwater rescue that happened in Eastridge.
Well, here's these kids' life jackets. They're too small to fit these kids.
What kids?
these teenagers that got life
Well,
jackets on.
614 Simmons Road, can you re-advise the party count?
What's 4 souls, 2 cats.
Oh, here you go.
So this rescue going on in Eastridge is people, crews help them get not only their family members out, but also an animal in a crate there. Here's some more video from the interstate there, man, from the ground perspective. Look in that water. Look at all the debris that you're seeing just float by these cars. You can see there's those sound barrier walls we talked about. So it's hard to know exactly how quickly this water rose if people drove through it, because once you're on the interstate there's not an exit right to get off, or if they were in it as it rose, it's hard to know. Of course, we always say turn around, don't drown. We hear that from Chief Meteorologist David Glenn all the time in these situations. But when you're in that situation and you don't know which way to get out of it, it's hard to know what to do when it happens on the interstate and you're kind of landlocked in that. I do want to go over to the response we got from TDOT just to show you that a little bit more. So you're seeing there the video from the interstate. And then, so we reached out to TDOT asking if they thought that their construction played a part in that. And while they said they're actively reviewing it, they said, we want to be clear, the ongoing road construction project in the area did not contribute to the flooding. The project's drainage systems performed as designed, and the water runoff from the site was properly managed and channeled. Public safety is our top priority. So again, that is the perspective from TDOT. We did hear earlier that there is another round of rain coming for this afternoon from our meteorologist, Olivia Glass. That is something you're going to want to stay tuned for as we go along this afternoon. So we're going to wrap this stream up now. We've shown you most of the things that have come into our newsroom from last night and into this morning, but we'll bring you another update this afternoon as we learn more, as we get more response from officials, as we keep covering this and talking to people affected. Definitely a devastating flash flood situation in our area, the likes of which haven't been seen since 1973. At least 3 confirmed fatalities at this point. 1 man still missing. Could be more injuries and more damage that we just don't know about yet. Please stay tuned here to News Channel 9 as we continue to cover this situation, both online here from our stream center and our newscast beginning at 5 on our website, newschannel9.com, and on our social media pages. We'll see you back here soon.